Hello, 7th grade, and welcome to our first screencast of the year, right here at the end of the year. Today, guys, I'm making this video as a way to give you guys some instructions for the last project of the year. I know, we're all very sad about it. So, for our last project of the year, we're doing a pond study. Mrs. Froman and myself went to the pond, our Willowbrook pond, last night, and we got water from the pond. There's water in it this year. And what we're going to do over the next 5 days is perform some tests on the water. And what we're going to do with our water is we're going to add 5 different variables, and then we're all going to do the same tests to those 4 different variables and a control. So what you can see in front of you right now on the screen, if you have to pause the video right now, that'd be great. If kids need to see the groups and what variable they have, that'd be fine. But what we're going to do, guys, is with the water, we're looking at how different factors affect and would change the quality of the water, which we'll look at more in a few minutes here. What I want you guys to look at is our groups here. So group number 1, mine is Connor there, obviously. You guys are the nutrients group, so you're going to have the bowl labeled nutrients, and you're going to be performing tests to the water if this water had extra nutrients added to it, and how would that affect the water overall over the 5 days. Group 2, you are the control group. We did not add anything to that water. We're just going to leave it out. It's just straight out of the pond. We're going to see if that changes naturally, if water changes naturally over time, some of those different qualities. Now, group 3, you are plants with lights. We're going to have some aquatic plants we're going to have in there, and we're going to see how those plants, if they change any of the factors, any of the qualities of the water. Group number 4, you are plants without light. So in this scenario, plants, we're going to give you guys some tin foil. We want you to wrap up that bowl so no light can get through. The plants are in there in the water, but no light can get through. And we're going to see what happens to the water over the next 5 days. And then group 5, you are going to be our fish group. Yes, we're going to give you guys a few goldfish, and we're going to see how that aquatic life, those fish, how they affect the water over the course of the 5 days. Okay, so here are your groups. We'll be in these groups basically the next 5 days doing some different testing. So once you have your bowl of water and the variables are added to it, we are going to be performing some tests. And actually I'm going to stop right here. I'm actually going to jump over to group my other class. So 5th period, same idea. Here are your groups, and you can pause the video there so they can see that. But it's the same 5 different variables. Alright, so what we are going to be doing are some tests. There are 4 different tests we'll be testing for. Our first test is a pH test. We want to know what the pH of the water is. And pH is really that, a lot of times it helps us detect how much acid's in the water. So more acidic water is going to be higher, less acidic is going to be lower. Now, you're going to have, with every group, there's going to be a packet of these procedure steps for each different type of test. So even though you have 4 or 5 people in your group, each person can be doing a test at the same time, because some take a few minutes to do. So it's okay if you have 4 or 5 people, there's 4 or 5 tests that everybody can be doing. So you're going to simply follow the procedure steps you have written below you, and these kitchen, we have the basers in the bin up front, and the baggies you're going to be using are these baggies right here. You can see them, and line C is written on there, so you can see where line C is on all the bags. And again, try not to suck up any plants or dirt or fish. And again, it tells you which tabs to add. And what we did, we spread out the 4 different type of testing stations. We spread them out around the room. The instructions, again, are in this packet here, and they're going to be on the bins that are spread around the room for each different type of test. So who's ever doing pH for that day, and again, let's say you're the fish group, we'll just say, but every group, all five groups are going to do the pH test. So if you're the fish group, you go to your bowl, you take out a little bit of water, and it tells you to add the tabs, and it tells you what to do, steps 1, 2, 3, then 4. We'll get to step 4 here in a few minutes. After you've tested it, what we'll have on the board is this handy pond water tour sheet. Looks just like this. That'll be on the board. And what you can do with that then is the color should change. And so based on the color, bring that to the board, and you can use that as a comparison to figure out if the pH has gone up or gone down, if the nitrates have gone up or down, if the amount of dissolved oxygen has gone up or down, or if it hasn't changed. So you can use that as a comparison to tell when we complete our chart next. So again, there's a test for pH, there's a test for ammonia, and again the directions are already here and what you need to do, and also the instructions will be on the bins around the room. There is a test for dissolved oxygen, and dissolved oxygen is a little bit different. The other ones you just need a baggie for. This one you need a little bit of a vial. Looks like this. It'll be in a dissolved oxygen bin. And it shows you in the instructions there, but I'll kind of go walk through with you also. Make sure, now they want to make sure we're testing for dissolved oxygen. If there are any air bubbles in there, that tends to throw off our test just a little bit. So make sure we get all the air out we can. When you start tilting it up and down, there are no air bubbles really you can see. Only the two pills in there are moving up and down. So this one takes a few minutes to do, but there's the vial you're going to use for dissolved oxygen. And then there is a test for nitrogen. Got a little crooked there, but again, procedure steps are all on here. And again, sometimes there's a step 1 and a step 2, so be very, very careful and make sure you read through the procedure steps and document it carefully there. Okay? So every group, whichever variable you have, you can do all of these tests every day. Once you have the tests collected, you also have a sheet for collecting some data. Where are we going to put this data now that we have it? So this one is your group data. So our source you can write in there is the Willowbrook Pond. The variable that you have, you might have the nutrient group, maybe the fish group, or if you're the control, write in you're the control. And so today is our start. Today is our first day. And so our pH, you're going to fill in. I'll do this in a highlighter here for you real quick, a yellow highlighter. Let's say our pH was 7 our first day. So 5, 6, we'll go up to 7. No crooked. Let's say on tomorrow, the next day, it went up. Now it's at 9, so they're going to fill up to 9 this time. Okay, so fill up accordingly. So our ammonia, if it's low, medium, high, over the next few days, and kind of fill that in for every group. So each variable will be different. But each variable is going to have their own chart like this for group data. So this is all you're going to be doing when I'm gone. When I come back on Friday, on the other side should be a classroom data sheet. We'll fill this out when I come back on Friday. We'll be a few days behind. We'll fill all this information in when you guys come back, when I come back on Friday, excuse me. So make sure the biggest thing here is that we have both of these. Alright, so to recap, I had to take a little break there. So to recap, you guys are in your different groups. Here's first period's groups. And again, we're testing our pond water. Some have nutrients, plants no light, fish, or control. We didn't change anything. And we're going to be doing some tests to this water. And every group's going to do these tests to their water. And our tests include pH, ammonia, the amount of ammonia in the water, the amount of dissolved oxygen, and the amounts of nitrogen in the water. I believe are our 4 tests we're going to try to figure out. So, and we'll also make sure then, once we have those tests done, then someone can take a few minutes on our data sheet, which was right at classroom. There's our classroom, and there's our group data sheet that every day you guys are recording your group data. And when we come back, we'll record it on the classroom data chart. Okay? Alright guys, and our last thing here is what happens when you finish early. The testing probably won't take the whole class period, especially that second day. So what the teacher is going to give you is we're looking at the habitat, that pond ecosystem, the pond habitat, and we're looking at different kind of levels of water. So you're going to get the sheet. It's going to have different habitat conditions on this first sheet. So at the mid water, so under the surface a little bit, the pond margin out near the edge, the bottom of the pond, so be part of it there. And our last two are some pond habitats, above the surface and right there at the pond surface. Those are our 5 kind of different areas we're looking at of our pond, kind of the different habitats around there, what animals live at each level. So this is kind of your informational page. These 2 pages are your information. We're going to go back and look for information. So on the other page here, and it's sideways, but that's okay, is a chart And again, there's the above the surface, pond surface, mid-water, pond margin. Those are 5 different areas. And again, you'll be looking at, it even says, use the pond handout to complete the table. So oxygen, how is oxygen used? Where does it come from? Light, how much light is in that water? Is there, maybe at the bottom of the pond there isn't much light left. Shelter, what kind of shelter is available? What type of food is available? Different predators that live in that level. And then finally on the back side here, different animals you might find. So different invertebrates or different vertebrates. You may even see some in the pond water that's living there. There's some different larvae in there. And from the pond where we got it, there was some tadpoles in there too. So you're going to be filling this out after you complete the testing for the day. Alright guys, at this time, we're going to stop there. Remember, be on your best behavior for the sub. And I will see you guys on Friday. Thank you for listening.